And even those now who are living, especially the human beings now who are living, those who are grateful, those who are ungrateful, most of the things we are receiving and we are attaining and we are gaining, it is not due to us asking and requesting. We actually are given without request. Most of the great matters in your life, you attain it without really asking and requesting and begging. Most of it. If I was to ask you, list me those which you attained by asking and begging, the list will be what? Very tiny and small. If I was to ask you, list me those things you attained without asking and begging, without requesting, constantly, daily, day and night, you'll find them huge. And then if I was to ask you, list me the great favors you attained in your life, were they more due to you requesting, or were they more due to you not requesting? Which one was it? You'll find that most of the great matters you attained, it was more given to you without much request. Even if you requested, it wasn't much of a request. And that's why it's so important to place matters into perspective to see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually giving things to you. We only focus on the things that what we need or want or yearn, but He is not giving. He is not giving. We focus on them so much so we then begin to be unaware of the things, matters which He is giving us, which He is granting us. That's why we always, when we travel, we then realize we are taking this life for granted. Yeah, then we appreciate. I give you an example. So many of us complain we don't have this job or that job, or in that job, I'm not getting much money, I want more money. Or the families complain, we want to buy a house, and just complaints. But how many of us complain of lack of water, for example? Yeah, or lack of clothes, or lack of food, or lack of family, or lack of security and safety of our own family members or loved ones. So can you see that we want to make this life of dunya perfect, when this life of dunya was not made or was not created to be made perfect? That's our biggest problem. You can never make this world perfect life for you, because it was never meant to be a place of eternal and perfect living. It was never meant to be, and thereby you cannot make it. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter how you try to do it. It will always go through some kind of challenges and difficulties and trials and tribulations. So, practically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us more than we can even imagine, more than we can even list. Now the question is, if He gave us more than we can imagine and more than we can list, then how much will He give if and when we ask, and when we request, and when we beg? That's the first question. Is important that we ask that question and we answer it. The second, we have this notion, it's a silent subconscious notion of belief. It's not really a belief in the heart, but it's more of a notion in the mind. That I do ask, and I do beg, and I do request, but I don't get it. I don't get it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we always forget that everything you're asking, you will get it. You will get it. You will attain it. And you will attain more as well. More than what you ask. So none of your requests are going in the air and disappearing. None of your requests are going in the air and disappearing. That's not happening. What is happening is that every single of your requests is actually being preserved and either given to you more than what you asked for, or either given to you as a proportion, or will be given to you later on, or is being kept for you for the eternal life. So it's never the case that you are asking Allah, the one who wants your interest and the one who is more than capable to give for eternity the creation consistently, constantly, more than they are asking, and yet nothing will decrease, because there's nothing called nothing when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is not defined by nothing. He is something, and thereby there is always something that He can give you. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to give the whole creation, and Him being Him, He will constantly give, because He is something, He is not nothing. Nothing is not defined by Him. Nothing does not define Him. Something defines Him. Everything else can be nothing, or was nothing, or can be defined by nothing. But Allah always is defined with something. And thereby He can always give. He can always give. He can always give. He can always give more than, obviously, what you can imagine.